Hey creative friends, welcome to my channel. And in this video, I'm going to talk about my stove. See, I just did one of those little shorts, you know, the video shorts about how I clean her every year in January. I give her a good cleaning, good going over, checking everything, and so we can cook for more years to come. But there were some things that were about my stove that I think are cool, so I wanted to share in case you are looking for things, I don't know, about stoves. But this is an awesome stove. I got this 7 years ago when my other one was a problem because I was canning on it, and all of a sudden we heard this like sparking noise, and the element had started to spark and literally kind of spot welded itself to the bottom of my canner, and then it kind of started doing funky stuff, and I don't trust when electrical things go weird, so we decided we would just get another stove. So I'm going to tell you a couple things about this one that I really like. This is a GE. I don't know what model it is. I suppose I could find out somehow, but the thing about this stove, I will show you. One thing I did, see this white spot on here? I don't know if you can see that. Let me get it. So this white spot on this element is because one day I left my little Pioneer Woman teapot boil dry, and it literally, the enamel burned on there. But it still works fine, and I went and got another one. So we're good. Okay, I'll let my tea. So another thing about this one, I'm going to have to take that off, that I like is these burners. GE has a thing. When I was buying this, I was focused seriously on canning because, you know, my friends have glass top stoves, and those, if you have a glass top stove, make sure with the manufacturer that you can can on it, because especially the older ones, because there's manufacturers that say you can can on them, but you want to verify. I didn't want to worry about that, so I went and got one. I wanted an element stove, the ones that have these kind of elements. And the cool thing about this GE stove is these are what they call super boil burners, which means they're, I guess the wattage is higher. They get faster quicker, hotter quicker, and I find that that's true. It cuts, doesn't cut my canning time like way down, but I can see that my canner comes to a boil quicker than with my old stove. And part two, I want to show you the elements because, let me get this out of there. See how tightly wound the coils are on this element? And you can see other ones that will have, maybe this has 1, 2, 3, 6. You'll see other ones that have like 5, and so there's a bigger space in between them. That makes, when you're looking for a stove, you want to look for one that's got a tight wind on the coils. Then another thing I'm going to show you about up here. I liked this one because this just lifts up, and it's got these little pokies that go in there to hold it up. The reason I like this, you'll see, I showed a video on this a long time ago, but I've got a lot of new subscribers who maybe didn't see this. This is a stack of those Subway tiles, okay? And the reason I have those is that I put these, I measured, this is 5 tiles high, and I put these in the center here because those can tolerate the heat. And then when I put this down, it supports the middle of the stove. Now my old stove, because I had canning things on here and it would get really heavy, and literally it would start to kind of dip. If I put a fry pan on here with some oil, the oil would kind of go over to the side. It wouldn't stay level, and that's because the weight of all the canning that I did caused the center of my stove to start to kind of dip. So I put those in there when I got this new stove, and still to this day, it's fine. You know, there's a thing about burners that I don't know why they do this. I don't know how I would design a stove differently, but I wish both the big burners were in the front. There might be stoves like that, but I've never seen them. Because you have this big burner back here, and see where this is? It's almost to the side of that burner. So right down there. So if I had a big pot, it would literally be up against here. So the only thing I can use on that burner is like a low big pot. I couldn't use even like a tall pot to set back there to keep warm. So that's the thing I don't like about stoves, and I've never really seen one that's set up different. I wonder if I had 2 big burners, and I know it's so that you can reach back there to the control panel, but the 2 burners in the front, or maybe 2 burners on the side with the 2 smaller ones in the middle, I don't know how I'd do it, but I think that a big burner against the control panel, kind of dumb. But a thing that's cool is all stoves have some way for the oven to exhaust heat. thing I like about this stove is it comes out of this burner. So you do have to be careful if you're cooking for a long time in your oven. Let me get that in there. But you can see, I don't know if you can see, back here there's like a little chimney. And that comes off the stove, the oven. So literally, if you're doing something, this area back here will be nice and warm. And I've actually, when I'm cooking something, I gotta get that to set down there. I must have it on now. Anyway, when I'm cooking something that's really long and I have something I just want to keep warm, I've actually just taken biscuits and put them like in a pot with a lid on it and just set them there, and it keeps them nice and hot. So that's kind of figure out how your stove, your oven exhausts its heat and utilize it. So now I'm going to move you down and we're going to look at the inside. Now we're going to look at the inside. Let me turn the light on so you can see. Okay. So I like this too because of the great big window on it. I can see in there pretty well. So that's kind of nice, having a big window. And I've seen some of even the newer ones, they have a small window, and I like a good visual. And so inside, I like it because it's self-clean. But here's the thing. There's a couple things about this that are cool. This one came with 2 racks. And this rack here is like a slidey-glidey rack. And it's actually on these little ball bearing things, and it came with a little bit of oil you can put on there. But that, have you ever had something that's just got a little liquid in it, and you go to pull it out, and this kind of maybe hits a bump and it spills? This helps prevent that. So this rolling rack came with my oven, but my favorite rack is this one. This one has come with me from my oldest, I don't even know how old this is, but this is a cool rack. It's called a split rack, and you can order these. And why would you want this? Because this side pops out. And the coolest part of that, see this part comes out? But if you see how that pops out? Why would you want that? Because when you're cooking a whole bunch of stuff, and we just had the holidays, you can fit your turkey in there and still have multiple shelves for your casseroles and things. So this is called a split rack. And it's one of my favorite racks to get, and it did not come with this stove, but it's awesome. Let me get on there. There we go. So that's a cool rack to have. If you have an opportunity, I don't know, probably look on Amazon or manufacturer, just make sure you get it for the right width of your oven. But a split rack is a wonderful thing. And I actually have a casserole dish, but it has a lid on it, and the little handle sticks up. And so if I'm only doing that, I'll put that on that side, and then I'll put the other things on the side. So that's a cool thing. This glidey rack is a cool thing. And it's got a good light in the back. And other than that, this is a good oven. So I like that I can self-clean it every year, and I like all the features in the top. So hopefully this girl will be with me for a long time, because we do a lot of good things together. So there you have it, a little tour of my oven. Some features to look for. These self-boil burners are awesome. Making sure you have a tightly wound coil is a really good thing. And if you do a lot of canning and you have a glass top stove, I know a lot of people who will go down to a secondhand appliance place, and they'll get an old coil burner stove, an element stove, and put it like out in their garage or something, and they'll use that for their canning so they don't void the warranty or mess up their glass top. So there's a lot of features. Oh, and this one also has a big drawer down here on the bottom where you can store a bunch of stuff. So that's kind of cool too. See how big that drawer is? It's a pretty good sized drawer down there. So I keep, I gotta wipe that up, but I keep like pans and stuff in there. So there it is. There's my stove. We're heading into 2023, and we're going to have some good times cooking some good food in here. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.